Good Monday morning, YouTube. Jason, Intricate Concrete, World Headquarters, countertop time. So this is the countertop I was telling you guys about. I'm going to show you a little bit here. This is my countertop casting table slash really nice workbench. It's all steel top. Every couple years I run my diamond polisher on here and seal this table. I've got 6 of these trailer jacks, 1 at each corner, 2 in the middle, so I can perfectly level this table. So this is what we're going to build it on. Usually I do countertops upside down. This time it'll be right side up because I'm going to be seating some glass in it. So you guys can see there's a lot of swirl marks and things like that in here. If this was going to be upside down, I'd have to get this super clean because those will transfer over. So I've got some of this PVC type material. This is our flexible piece here. I've got some 1.5 inch down here. I just get this stuff locally at the lumber yard. You can get it almost any size you want. See, it's pretty flexible. I've got my miter box set up here, and I've got our detailed drawing of what we're going to be doing. So obviously one of the first things you have to do is go out to the site, either make a template or make a really detailed drawing, check everything out for level, check everything out for support. I like to make a really good drawing myself. Then I'm going to come back here. Right now I'm going to cut up all of my pieces. Once I get all my pieces cut up, we'll move over to the table. We'll start forming. I'll show you guys the process for that. We'll kind of do it one step at a time. For this, we are going to be using the Z Counterform mix. It's a white mix. I've used this stuff several times. We've got some color packs here already made up. We've got some blue glass, a couple different sizes of white glass. I've got some red glass that we're going to be putting in this. Like I said, this is for, I believe it's an American Legion bar. We're helping them out, doing a little donation work here. All those supplies were donated by Decorative Concrete Resources, our local supply house. So we're going to see if we can help out the veterans here, being a veteran myself. So let's get to it. We're going to cut up some product. Okay, so now that I have the outside pieces cut, some of these will need to be trimmed a little bit. Some of these, like the outside ones, I cut a little bit longer to overlap, so I've got a little bit of room to play. Now what I'm going to do is, this stuff is double-sided tape. So what I will do is put 2 of these pieces together like such. I'll tape them. I'll run a razor blade down the seam to cut them. These will stick down directly to my metal table. It sticks good enough where you can pour against it. I've never had one come apart yet, knock on metal. And then what I'll do is I have these little blocks of the same stuff cut up, and I take hot glue. I will hot glue them on 2 sides, obviously the square side here and the square side here. I stick them right to the table and right against the form. These just act like a little kicker, like a little support. And when I get ready to strip it, you'll see I just take a hammer, I hit these, comes right off the table clean with the hot glue. So I've got a whole pile of those cut up. So right now we will work on getting this thing square and in shape. And then I have to put a piece down here that's going to remain in it for like a little screw block for their beverage guns and things like that under the counter. And I have to make a knockout over here. That's one of their drain wells. So first thing is we'll get this thing squared up, get it taped down, and then we will make our inserts and things like that. So we'll go from there. Alright guys, so what I have to do here is make a curve, if you guys can see that. And what I've done is I've taken a router and I've just hogged out a little section here and here, and now when I make my bend, I'll have a little place for it to kick in there. So right now I'm going to show you guys how I put the tape on, so you can see that, and that will be the same process all the way throughout. What I do is I just turn these upside down first, so I can use one piece of tape and get as many done as I can, and I'll show you guys how we do that. Again guys, this is just some double-sided tape. So once I find it here, I've got my pieces already lined up side by side, and it looks like I can get 3 pieces out of this. This stuff's only a 1/2 inch thick. So I'm gonna grab my other end piece there and line it up, and I'm going to grab my tape, keeping these as tight as I can so I don't get any air bubbles in it. So now you guys can see the point of doing that. I've got all 3 pieces here. All I have to do is take my knife and cut them where they're split. And now I've taped 3 pieces with 1 piece of tape, kind of save my tape a little bit. Basically have pretty minimal waste. Then if I have anything overhanging like this here, I want to make sure that that's going to be on the back side, which it is, so it won't interfere with my countertop at all. I can cut these little notches out, but that's how I'm going to tape all these pieces together, and then we'll start sticking them down to the table. I've also pre-marked my table here, if you guys can see. I've got some 1.5 inch marks in from the edge. This is a factory edge, so what that will do is that will help me get my first piece in here nice and square, and then I've got my 2-foot square there, and I will work off that. Okay everybody, so as you can see, we got this formed up. We got the knockout in here, the other board in there. What I did with that one is I just ran some GRKs in it, and the reason for that is that this piece is going to stay in there, and it will allow them to screw up into it to put in their like soda fountain gun hangers, things like that. This is going to be a knockout for an existing stainless steel, like a drain they have that sits in there. So now what I need to do is cut my little rounded pieces for here, and I'm going to hot glue on all of my supports on the outside. So we'll work on that now and keep plugging away on this thing. Okay everybody, so I've got a bunch of these little blocks cut up. I've got my hot glue gun there. As you can see, I'm just hot gluing these things around. I've got this side done. They knock off there really easy with a hammer. You'll see when I hit them when we're done, they'll pop right off. They come off the table nice and clean. And I will show you guys how simple this is. I just take my hot glue gun here. I do two sides of it and stick it on, give it a little push. That is really it. I try and go every foot or so with these. It doesn't take long at all. And gives it a lot of support. This stuff is really strong when you get it on there. I know it doesn't look like much, but this is another huge benefit of the steel table. If this was wood, obviously it would be a lot more permanent. Where the steel table, it pops off there really nice and easy and does exactly what I need it to do. This is how we do all of our countertops if I have to do any. I've tried to really get away from doing a lot of countertops. Just because honestly it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. People don't want to pay in this area. Well, I can go to Home Depot and buy granite for $28 a foot or whatever, then go do that. As you can see, this is quite a process. So I'm gonna get the rest of these glued on here, and then we have to bend in our two corners still, but I want to get these on here first so everything is supported and strong, and then we'll go to some of this flexible stuff and work on our corners. Okay everybody, so I've got this done. This is just some 1.5 inch, quarter inch thick. As you saw, I heated it up with the torch, kind of bent them into shape. Those don't have to be perfect because this is going to get ground, so we'll be able to polish it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around all of the outside edges that'll be exposed, and I'm going to pack some clay in there. I've got a clay extruder. You'll see I'll lay bands of clay in there, or ropes of clay. I have these tools here. We'll use this. This will go through and give us a nice rounded edge and smooth off the clay. So the edges that don't need to be done, like this one here where it's going to be against the wall, this one here that's going to be on the bottom, those don't have to get done. Everything else will do, and that'll give us a nice rounded edge on the bottom, so it won't be sharp, especially against this edge where people are sitting and against that edge where the bartender will be. So stay tuned for that. I'll show you guys how it works. Okay YouTube, so I have all of the clay in, as you guys can see, basically everywhere I need to. This little section here doesn't matter, it's going to be up against the wall. So The reason that I like to use the clay instead of silicone is it's instant. The second I put it in there, I round it off with this tool. As you can see, this one has 2 different sizes. I have a whole set of these, all different sizes. And then what I'm gonna do is wipe this stuff down with some painter's solvent. You'll see that it'll smooth it right off nice. Silicone is sticky, it's messy, you've gotta wait for it to dry. If you screw it up, you've gotta wait for it to dry, or it's just a mess trying to fix it. This stuff, it never gets hard, never really sticks to the table. It's easy to clean. You guys will see that when we strip this, it'll come off. I take a Scotch-Brite pad and rub it off. When I'm polishing the countertop, comes right off, no problem. It's just super easy to work with. Stuff is fairly inexpensive, and it does an excellent job. So I also use it, like you guys can see, I built these corners up here, over here where the seams are. I've got obviously extra on there, but I'll smooth it all down with the rag right now and get it clean, and you guys will see it works awesome for filling little holes and everything. So it's a great product. We're gonna wipe this thing down now, get it all smoothed off. That'll probably be it for today, and then tomorrow we will hopefully get this thing poured. Stay tuned, everybody. Okay, so I've wiped everything down, got it kind of smoothed out, as you guys can see. I'm not super concerned with a little bit of extra that's on the edges and things like that, because again, we're pouring this countertop right side up because of the glass broadcast and things like that I have to do. If this was upside down, it would have to be perfect. Like this little bit of stuff would have to be cleaned out of here. So the next step is tomorrow, I'm gonna cut a little bit of reinforcement to go in here, which will be some fiberglass cloth, maybe a couple pieces of pencil rod on our weak corners there. The mix we're using is incredibly strong. It also has fiberglass in it. So I've never, knock on wood, had any of the pieces I've made with that stuff break, but I'm very concerned with this small section through here. So I'll probably be adding at least some pencil rod to that. Plan is tomorrow morning, cut all of our reinforcement that we're gonna need. Once that's done, we will clean this all out really good, put some wax on it. I wax the table, wax the forms. I'll show you guys that so that everything comes off easily. Once we have that done, then we will be ready to pour. This one is going to be, I believe, a light gray color is what they gave me, and we're gonna put some red, white, and blue glass in it for the patriotic venue that we're doing this for. My thought is, as of right now, is I'm gonna start with some blue here and maybe do some waving red and white, kind of like a flag. Over in this area, there's obviously a stainless steel well that covers that. And the cash register sits here and takes up most of this corner. So I'm thinking I'll probably really start the blue somewhere in here and work that way. That's kind of my thought as of now. I'm probably gonna have to roughly lay it out, but it's gonna be a real random design. We're not cutting out a stencil or anything like that. So that's the plan right now. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you're picking up some good tips, and tomorrow we'll hopefully get this thing poured. Stay tuned, everybody. Good Tuesday morning, YouTube. Back here on the countertop project. So a couple things I've started. I've got a little 1/8 inch wide piece of metal in here. You can see that I notched my plastic for a seam. This is a little bit flexible, so when I pour it, we'll put a square on it, make sure we have a nice straight joint there. I have to seam this because it's too long to transport this way with as thin as it is and as long. I don't want to take any chances. The other thing I'm doing is I got all of our wax all wiped down. Again, that doesn't have to be perfect because it's the bottom. And you can see my swirl marks in here where I've started applying a wax. This is just a clear paste wax. I've used like Johnson's, things like that. If I was pouring this upside down, I would have to get all those streaks out of there, really make sure that this thing is as perfect as I can get it. Since I'm pouring it right side up, and that will be the bottom, I'm putting a good heavy coat of wax on there. Just protects the table, and it helps this thing separate from the table a lot nicer. I will also wax our metal on both sides, so it'll pop right out of there. I'm going over all the form boards with the wax, and the wax in here, the clay in here with the wax. So everything gets waxed except obviously our board that we want to stay in there, we won't wax that. I've got some glass here. This stuff is available through like American Specialty Glass, or there's some other ones out there. I've got a blue, I've got 2 different sizes of white. I've got some red here. I've got more blue if we need it. What I'm thinking right now is this is how you will walk up to the bar when it's finished. I'm thinking about doing a lot of blue over here and waving red and white stripes to look like a giant flag there. We'll see how it goes. It's just a vision I have now. Since this is a donation piece, I didn't call in any of the other guys to help with this. I do have a couple of the guys from Decorative Concrete Resources that are going to come here today and give me a hand mixing, and then I'll take over finishing and everything from there, and we'll work on that. So stay tuned, everybody. I'm gonna finish waxing this, and then it's just a waiting game till those guys get here.